Immortality, I chose this text called We Exist, that Emmanuel takes a passage that Jesus said from the Gospel of John, where he says, I have come that you may have life and have it in abundance. And Emmanuel goes explaining, we exist. All beings brought forth by the Creator's breath exist. The stone exists, the plant exists, the animal exists. Souls exist, each at different stages of evolution. Yet, in the spiritual sense, living is something different from merely existing. Life is the experience worth of immortality. There are many who exhaust themselves, wasting health and opportunities in empty pursuits, when not plunging into the snares of evil, weaving painful reincarnations. There are many who destroy their own minds, writing without purpose, or worse, using thought to spread denial and cruelty, thereby entering the path of reparative suffering. There are many who waste their hours in idle talk, or even worse, who use words to wound and drive others to despair, accumulating grievous debts. There are many who ask for this or that blessing only to squander it in meaningless activities, or worse, to use it to harm others, creating tears that will spend a long time trying to wipe away. All these agents of futility and wrongdoing exist, just as well as we all exist. Reflect then on what you do. The cradle grants existence, but life is our own creation. Let us pray. So let's connect ourselves to our Father God, to our brother, our Master Jesus, to our guardian angels, and all the spiritual team that help all activities of FSS, in special this one that happens every Sunday morning. And let's be grateful for one more opportunity that we are here, trying to learn Jesus' teachings, guided by this consoling doctrine that is Spiritism. Let's be grateful for this house, for this second home of love, and to all the opportunities that we are presented in this incarnation, in this journey, in this experience, activities and situations that let us grow, that help us in our moral development. And today, let's value and cherish the life that has been granted for us, that we have all the resources, that in our inner self, the divine seed is present and has given us everything that we need to endure all the challenges, but also all the happy and rewarding moments that we have while incarnated. And let's ask that our guardian angels enlighten us, guide us, and we maintain our thoughts, our emotions connected to the supreme wisdom, to the supreme will of God and Jesus. And our talks are guided by love, by light, and by compassion. So be it. All right, so while I connect here, today, I don't know if everybody knows, but September, it's a month that we cherish life. It's a month that we talked about suicide prevention. It's where we want to talk about and raise awareness how this challenge that we are facing nowadays, Here's my presentation. So we can help ourselves and we can help others, just give me a second, to avoid this path. Yeah, here. Good. So it's a very important month, and I wanted to, I know it's the end of the month, and we, Jesus, how do I?
Sometimes go through most of them.
More than one desktop.
Where do I go? Jesus. Here? Oh, this one. Screen? Show presenter view. Oh, now I have to go there.
No, there's a switch mode there.
Is that display settings? Yeah, good. So, and I don't know why it's kind of being CC there, but that's okay. As I've been mentioned, we have.
Closed captioning.
Yeah, I don't know why it's closed captioning. Yeah, that's fine, no problem. Oh, maybe it's because I click it here. Fancy. Fancy. Ah, yeah, good. See? So that's where we kind of we do all the efforts to encourage all of us to cherish life and cherish this gift that have been given to us, so we can grow. And we know nowadays, with the world that we are living, the rates of suicide and all the causes like depression, anxiety, and so many other mental health conditions is playing a big role, not only in Canada, not only in Brazil, but worldwide. So I wanted to, even though it's the last, we celebrate September 10th as World Prevention for Suicide, but I want to take kind of this last Sunday to talk a little bit about it as well. There are many ways, and when we used to have like entire afternoons dedicated here at FSS to talk in full length about suicide and how the Spiritism doctrine talks about it. So there are many ways that we can approach, but today I want to take a very simple approach. I won't be talking about the types of suicides, what cause, what happens after, although I will touch base, but I want to concentrate in the consoling part of it. And what does Kardec and the Spiritism doctrine talks, and what do they say about it? And what are the two key points that the Spiritism Kardec has a chapter, and we're going to go through that chapter a little bit. Chapter 5 from the Gospel According to Spiritism, called Blessed Are the Afflicted. He talks about suicide. And we are going to see two key points and how the Spiritism doctrine can help prevent suicide. So we're going to go through that, and then we're going to hopefully end on a note about what are some of the things that we ourselves can do to really not only know about the Spiritism doctrine, but also start our efforts to really feel it and live it. So I want to, and the focus around it is about immortality. Because if you're talking about suicide, and suicide means we're ending our life, we decide to end our lives, and we know that Spiritism doctrine talks about that this is just one of many, and we have several other lives, and our spirit is immortal. I will take that lens of immortality to talk about how we can prevent suicide. And I want to start with this passage from a book called Recados do Além, or free translation, Message from the Beyond, where Emmanuel, it's a very short one, talks about and mentions about a case saying when the person that committed suicide awoke in the beyond, and the beyond here I'm translating acordar no além, bringing the bleeding wound that he had opened in himself, he cried out in astonishment to the heavens. The Spirit said, my God, where is the death into which I entered? A voice, however, answered in the ears of his deep conscience, my son, you will leave death as many times as necessary, but from life, never. So take a moment, kind of reflect a little bit on this message. What is the essence of this message? When a spirit that decided to take this path awakes in the spiritual world, and this dialogue saying, where is death? What is the core message that this passage from Emmanuel is telling us? What happens when the spirit awake in the spiritual world and beyond? What do you think?
I'm not sure if this is the answer you're looking for, but I guess is the spirit surprised, the pain didn't go away.
Yeah.
So, and only the physical body went away, but it was still him or her.
Or there, yeah. So there is a sentiment there when someone that tried to, try to go that route and commit suicide, they just want to end a pain and a suffering, right? But when we talk about immortality and we wake up there, it's like, where is my death? Where is the death here?
Where is the end of
Where is the end of my life? And I love the last sentence. You will leave death as many times as you need, but life never. So the core essence behind this, there is this sense of disappointment. The spirit is disappointed because he or she wanted something that actually it doesn't exist because we are immortal. And Kardec talks about it, question 957. And he asks, in general, what are the consequences of suicide on the state of the spirit? And this is one of the things that I love bringing here. There's no formula for someone that commits suicide in one way, that's the consequence. Or the cause of committing suicide in way X, you have consequence A. That doesn't exist. Every single case is a special case. There are some mitigating and aggravating circumstances. There are some atenuantes and aggravantes in each single case. So the Spirit says the consequences of suicide vary widely. Depends on what happens. Depends on that spirit. There are no set penalties. And in all cases, they are always relative to the cause that produced them. One consequence from each, those who commit suicide cannot escape, however, is disappointment. And I think this message really highlights that disappointment because our spirit will never cease to exist. Will always exist. And will always have opportunities. And will always have as many opportunities are required to navigate the pains and sufferings of this journey. Because if we take the law of cause and effect, if I'm going through a struggle, it's just an educational component through the divine mercy that God is giving me to go through it and heal it and learn with it. But of course, there are some cases where going through that experience is very hard, and we're going to talk about it as we go through it. So I think this reflects the essence of the state of the spirit that decide to choose this option as a illusion. It is an illusion. And through that, we're going to go through this. It's a divine reality. Immortality, our immortality, is a divine reality. That Spiritism comes and really elaborates to us and gives us, who are found or who likes this doctrine, but hopefully in the future we like to say that Spiritism is not the religion of the future, but the future of religions. The religion in the sense of connecting to God, connecting to our essence and the moral transformation. So immortality of a soul is a divine reality. It exists. Our spirit, there's no end for our spirit. It's just the end of this body, of this machine, of this persona, or what Rosandro likes to say, this avatar that we are working right now, because it's the best avatar, and the avatar that has everything that we need to endure whatever we need. So I think from this awareness that starts with us, but also there is this hope, if this is the promising consoling, that around the world this immortality reality will be part of our lives. And this awareness can strengthen each one of us, understanding that this knowledge that we receive can really help us through our faith, through our hope, and very importantly, the love of the gospel. The gospel, according to Jesus, has all the elements, and Jesus himself is the model and guide. If you are in doubt, you can just look at him and see, this is the way that is being, he has showed us how we should be reacting, or we should be conducting our own lives. And if we look at that, and look at what Jesus went through, gives us the more strength that we can face our struggles, our challenges, and our pains along the way with purpose. And gives us a different point of view, that this is a point in a bigger timeline of our existence. So this immortality gives us that the hope, the faith, and the courage to endure and to go through those challenges, change the lens a little bit of those challenges, that Jesus or God has not put me in this world just to play with me, or just to see, let's see if Luis is really being able to do that, whatever he needs to go through. But we have everything that we need in order to overcome that. Not only overcome, but to learn and to change. And on the other side, as we overcome those challenges, we rise even better.
Luis, while you were explaining and Carol said like about disappointment and everything, one thing that I felt in the previous life was like a shock.
It is a shock.
It's like a shock, but it felt like you just wake up to the real truth, that you don't die, actually. The soul is gonna live forever and forever, and there's no escape. So the only way is to face whatever you're supposed to face. Because even if you kill yourself, it's not gonna end. The pain's not gonna end. You're gonna compromise yourself for future lives, and it's what it says, just like an illusion. So it's like waking up.
Yeah.
To the real truth,
Yeah.
right?
And it's important, and I think I will mention it at the end, but it's important to also understand as well. As we know, there are so many cases that people decided to take this illusionary door in order to solve. But there is an enormous, for lack of a better word, support system in the spiritual world that helps those that decided to go that route. There, Jesus with his mother, Mary of Nazareth, has an entire legion, an entire team that helps everyone that decides to take that route. So if someone decided to go that route, they are supported. The divine mercy does not let them alone. And Jesus, I think it's in the book from Ivone, Memoirs of Suicide, where Camilo Castelo Branco kind of highlights Jesus saying that only the love of a mother, as Mary of Nazareth, can help those that decided to take that. And there is an entire process and system in place, for a lack of a better word, being rational here, that helps those in transitioning in all the stages that they need to transition if they take that route. So there is consoling aspects while incarnated, but also if in the discarnated world, in the spiritual world. There's a whole support that helps all the spirits that that go to that route. But continue.
Can I make a
Yeah.
comment too? Even when those spirits, they can't see the help that is around
Yeah.
them, so it's still happening. And sometimes it could be brought to treatments or something in the spiritual world, or sometimes to mediumistic meetings, because being kind of closer to a more material world that we are at may help them start seeing things. So the help is there even if they don't see or don't feel, right?
Exactly. So going a little bit, sorry I didn't mention, but I took this talk when Artur Valadares, everybody knows that I really appreciate all his reflections, and this is a reflection, this entire talk is me trying to do justice or what he kind of helped me understand. The Spiritism doctrine and this immortality brings two, and he highlights these two aspects that helps us understand our responsibility, because now we know our responsibility towards life, right? Knowing the Spiritism doctrine, we know that whatever we do, being good or being bad, there's a consequence. So we cannot preach ignorance anymore. We know, even though we might only know in the rational level, but we do know. And we're invited to practice all of that. And if we not only committing suicide, but all the other aspects, decisions that we have in our lives, for everything we do, there will be a consequence. If there's a good act, if you're doing the good, a great consequence. If you're doing something bad, a negative consequence. So this immortality, the Spiritism doctrine, gives us that responsibility. But at the same time, it gives consolation. Because this knowledge brings us a broader, an expanded vision of our life. And hopefully, the more that we go through it, the more that we learn, the more that we read, the more that we practice, we will reshape and give a different dimension of the meaning of our life and how we see those challenges. Instead of just being, am I being punished? And we reshape it to what is the learning experience that I'm going through. I like what Haroldo says. Every time that we are going through something, instead of asking why, because if we ask why, we say, yeah, I was so bad in the previous life. I did this or I did that. It doesn't help us a lot asking why. But instead of, because we can go into some dark places. But instead of asking why, we might ask, what is this experience trying to teach me? What is the learning? It doesn't matter at this point. The past is the past. I cannot change it. I can only act in the present. And so what is that I can do to change? And maybe I can rethink my values, rethink my habits, and rethink and reconsider the role that the pain that I'm going through is that there's a different meaning and there's a different way to look at it. So this impact of the immortality of the Spiritist doctrine can help us prevent other challenges of our daily lives, but also the causes of suicide. I'm not a doctor, and I won't be talking about depression, I won't be talking about anxiety, because I don't have that knowledge to talk about that. But Kardec mentions and talks a little bit, and we're going to go through now the Gospel according to Spiritism, that can help us navigate that. And again, there is the Spiritism side of it that is really important and can help us. But as important as the spiritual knowledge, it's important to consider the material aspects and search for help in therapy, psychiatrists, and all the resources that are available, that are at our disposal to endure and to see what is happening and how we can navigate those challenges. So combining the two aspects, the spiritual aspect that we are focusing now, and we have plenty of literature, books, people, community that can help, but also all the other aspects in terms of treatment, therapy, doctors, medicines, and everything that might be required to go through this, right? So it's important that we take the two aspects. They need to be balanced and they need to coexist for a successful outcome. So let's go into the Gospel according to Spiritism that talks about the two aspects of the Spiritism doctrine about immortality and how those aspects help in suicide prevention. So this is in chapter 5 of the Gospel according to Spiritism. The chapter is called Blessed Are the Afflicted, and Kardec starts in item 14, where he says, the calm and resignation acquired in the manner of looking at earthly life and in the faith in the future gives the spirit a serenity that is the best preservative against, here he puts kind of two aspects, insanity and suicide. Insanity, we can talk about other mental problems that can cause due to our mental health. But here is calm resignation. And you've heard me talk about the confidence in the future. If we go back to Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 2, item 5, Kardec mentions about the point of view and how we are invited to look at all the challenges from a higher perspective. Just don't look at now. I'm not dealing well with situation A. Situation A is one aspect that maybe in our, I like to use the Google view, we're just on the street view. We can just see that street, Center Street. I'm not able to see all the roads that are part of Calgary and all Alberta and all Calgary and all over the world. So if I zoom out from that only experience, if I zoom out from Google Street View to a global view, there is a different perspective. And if we take question 115 from the Spirit's book, where we talk about if the spirits are all created equal and we're all ignorant, and Kardec ends that all of us, and that's the only determinism of the Spiritism doctrine, all of us will get to that relative perfection. There's none of us, it's like there's no pick and choose. All of us will get to that relative perfection. It's just some of us will take longer and some of us will take a faster approach. So that understanding can really help us, at least for now, from the knowledge and rational perspective, which is the first step that we take it, to understand if I consider committing suicide to end something, let's zoom out. That's something, that challenge, again, pairing Spiritism knowledge and also the material help that we have can help us with that resignation. That we have the power, we have everything that is required from us to solve that. And this existence is one dot in the infinite, into the infinite. Even that comparison, when we are thinking this life, Luis's life right now here in Calgary, is just one small portion of such a bigger journey that can help us in building and creating the strength and creating that calm and resignation. Because then what seems to be too big, it's like it's unbearable, has a different and a more relative proportion on the entire immortality that we have. And that future life, right? This new horizons of our evolution, that in the end, we will get there. We cannot escape. Isn't that, it's like, even if we want to say, yeah, I don't deserve, I throw stones on the cross, joguei pedra na cruz, or whatever, it's all in the past, and I will get there. And that confidence in that future can help or can start in our transformation and changing our view into this material life that we have that can help us endure that and can give us motivation, can give us power and steam to keep powering through. And Emmanuel says, right, you have to practice. And if you were here right now, today is September 28th, 2025. There's so many experiences that I accumulated, and everyone will not ask the age of everyone, but everyone will have their experiences that build strength for us to overcome this one right now, right? And God gives us, yeah, Luis built this muscle. Let me give him a little bit there because he's prepared right now. And that happens to all of us.
Luis, I feel
Yeah.
like I have a really close friend that she was facing like lots of challenges, and when she realized that facing it was the path to go through, the problems just went away. Like she has new challenges,
Yeah.
but it feels like she broke the
cycle.
The cycle.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And when we understand that eternity, right, that the best is waiting for us. So I know it seems easy when we're talking right now, and everyone here has their own challenges, has their own story of life, and it's different, but it's a start to transform whatever happened in the past and whatever is happening right now. That we have this, it's not about the end, it's not getting to that point, but this journey and how we face this journey and considering the eternity that we have can really help us to endure in a different way.
Just one comment about what Regiane said. So, what you were saying, it's very connected to resignation, because once she resignated with the situation, she was able to connect with that challenge in a different sense, in a different way, which opens doors to accept what that test,
The process, right?
the process that test means to her, like what she has to do to learn with that challenge. What is,
And at the end, she could tell, like, now I understand everything. I know why. I know all the reasons I had to face to come, like, to be like who I am right now. So it was big. Like, I was the person watching and like she's a good person. It was like, why is life in bring so much pain for her? Like, I was constantly praying for her because it was so sad, and it was kind of amazing, like, to hear her saying, like, I understand now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
And
journey.
I think on top of that, it's important for us to remind we are never alone.
Yeah.
Never. Even though we might say, I'm feeling alone in a material aspect, just me, my body, no one else, there's always spirits that can help. They're there. It's us doing our part to connect to them. And even though, like in your case, where our friends are struggling, there's always one thing that doesn't cost anything and can be done at any time for those is pray.
Yeah.
And prayer is action and can help every single one of us to, even if we're not connected, help alleviate some of the pain and help the connection with that person. And continue, Kardec in that same item says, due to the manner in which Spiritism enables them to regard the things of this world, they end up accepting with indifference. I think the spirits here, they're too evolved. Like, indifference is what they said, but it's like, oh, I'm not there yet. Or even joy is like, oh, yeah, even joy. Yeah, we'll get there. Accept with indifference or even joy, the reversals and disappointments that would render them desperate in other circumstances. It is obvious that this strength, which puts them above such events, protects their minds from the distress that would jolt them otherwise. Hence, those who are sure they will be unfortunate only for a day, and that better days will follow easily have patience. They only become desperate if they can see no end to their suffering. What is a human lifetime compared to eternity, if not less than one day? So what is our life now? I'm 43, it's one day compared to the whole eternity that I had and that I will have in the future.
And
So-
I think like what brings peace as well is you will not go through anything that you can't handle.
Exactly.
So just knowing that if you're going through something, it's because this is for your own sake. And I remember Arthur saying like, so be motivated, like give thanks for all the hardships you have in your life, because that's what is good for you,
Yeah.
even if you don't know the reason. Like
Yeah.
lots of times we're just a little thing, right?
Yeah.
Compared to the universe and
Yeah.
the knowledge out there, so we don't know everything. And usually I like what Reggie says, because like when things happen and you look back and you're able to refrain and he rethink about certain experience, what initially was thought like this is worst thing that's happening to me is like, thanks God, this was the best
The
thing
best,
that
yeah.
could have happened to
Yeah.
me.
And this future here tells that all suffering, all, it's not 1 or 2 or 55% or 70%, one day will be done. Every pain, every imperfection, every passion, and every struggle, we will overcome all of them.
When?
Yeah, because there is this, the spiritual doctrine gives this certainty. Every single thing will be solved. It's just a matter for us to see what we can solve in this life, and even in this moment of our lives, right? What I have, what I can do to solve that, because we're all children of God. There's no one here that's, oh, there's a children from another person or another thing. We're all children of God. And as I read in the on the opening text, we have life and is abundant. And that abundance of life, there was no line for us to get more or less abundance of life before we incarnate, right? I didn't stay longer in the abundance of life line in the spiritual world. And we will reach that relative perfection, but it is a journey. Again, this is one day compared to immortality and eternity. But he says, for those, that's the other point. For those who do not believe in eternity, however, for those who believe that all is over and when life ends, if they are oppressed by trouble and misfortune, they see no end to them excepting death. Expecting nothing, they find it very natural and even logical to shorten their miseries by suicide. Kardec was very rational here. It's like, if you really don't believe in immortality, it really doesn't make sense. Because what do I have to learn? If it ends by that date of how long I need to live, really doesn't make sense. So here, I think this point really brings the immortality as the cornerstone, as one of the key aspects for us to understand that there is more to come. More in terms of things that will happen, but also opportunities for us to correct some of the mistakes that we might be making, or we will be making, or we made in this life or any other lives.
And how much of that is referencing back to what you were saying about this idea of suffering, the role we play? Getting to your question, right? And then even your story about your friend, you said when she changed her perspective, when she changed her approach, it's like all of these things, which probably, yes, they all went away, but it's not like immediately she woke up and they disappeared. They just didn't have the same meaning that they did anymore. Exactly.
And she actually said, like, I need this to change. Like, I wouldn't change if I hadn't passed for all these. Like, it is quite of a learning. I don't know, like.
It is.
Yeah. And to that point of when then, so maybe the answer is whenever you choose.
Yeah.
The moment you choose is the moment that it goes. Because even this idea of suicide, that's rational. It's rational in a world where you feel like you're just buried in misery. But in a world where you're like, well, it's not my jacket, I don't have to wear it if I don't want to. Well, you don't have to keep wearing a dirty jacket if you don't like it, right? And as soon as you take it off, it's not your jacket anymore. It's now the jacket of the floor or something, but you don't have ownership of it anymore. And so even that idea of the rationality of suicide disappears as soon as you choose, as soon as you make the decision that it's no longer a realistic option for you now, or even based on, all these views, all these lessons that Spiritism gives us.
Yeah.
That's true. Especially because if we have like the freedom to choose to do whatever you want to do, and you know that every suffering is gonna pass, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
We gotta choose, right?
And I think like it puts you in a position of power. I'm
Yeah.
not disempowered, like I'm not on the mercy of whatever happens to me. I have a lot of choices.
Choices.
Yeah. So that is so liberating, like it brings a lot of hope.
And Kardec continues on 816 saying that this belief, the simple doubts about the future or the material world that we live here, like you live once, you have to be, there is this culture of happiness with all the social media. You need to be happy 100% of our time, and people are displaying that they are happy, but in fact, that's not true. So this very materialistic ideas are the greatest incitements to suicide. So Kardec's position that when we kind of just abide by others' idea without our own and see that this world is the only one and everything, whatever they're preaching out there, that's what I need to live, that is one of the key elements that can drive people to take that route and forget about that we don't belong. We belong, we are part of this world, but we have to conquer the world, not in this world, right? It's about my existence as a spirit beyond the planet Earth, right? That I carry over as a spirit, if I'm doing a good job, I might be incarnated here and continue my progress, or if I decided not to, and I'm not suitable for this world anymore, I can go to other ones. There's consoling, and there's a path for everyone. Free will. You choose, but you also have responsibility, and you have the consequences. So this is one part that Kardec mentions about this belief of the future. Another one in item 17, he talks about all the people, the spirits, that decided to take that route and then came back to tell us what happened. So Kardec mentions here, Spiritism has yet another equally positive and perhaps a more decisive result. It shows us suicide themselves who come through mediumship to reveal their unhappy situation and to demonstrate the fact that no one violates with impunity God's law, which forbids human beings to cut their own life short. So, when we have so many books, Ivone Pereira do Amaral, if you haven't had a chance to read, it's a very thorough description of what happens in the spiritual world when Camilo Castelo Branco committed suicide. André Luiz, with several of his books, that shows what happens in the beyond. And one thing that I like what Arthur mentioned is sometimes we only knowing, like I read the gospel, I read this or that about the future. Sometimes it stays in our intellect. It's just theory. But when someone is describing, it can reach easier our emotions and our hearts. It can provide us with a more profound impact. And it can really speak to us when there is that description, when there is that narrative, and that spirit that arrived in the spiritual world because they committed suicide, what really happens can really touch us. And sometimes can really shake us and really helps us start considering different ideas.
Because those details in these books, they're not easy to read.
They're not, exactly.
Too detailed. So.
And I won't have time, and I know I only have about 7 minutes, but what I did, there is this text that really touched me. And I have done, I didn't print, I have done a side-by-side Portuguese and English. I will send into our WhatsApp group. This text is about a spirit that was a medium, and he was a spiritist, and he committed suicide. It's, if you want to read, it's the description of that spirit saying that he was a medium. He helped other spirits that committed suicide. He was helped. He did his work in the Spiritism Center. But he, with his troubles, he opened his thoughts to his other companions and his challenges, and could not endure that and decided to commit suicide. And the description of that spirit, of what happened, of how he was feeling, and how difficult and how challenging for him to navigate being there in the spiritual world, and now being prepared to come back to repair those faults. It was just, it is a wonderful text that I have it. I will send in our WhatsApp group, and I did a Portuguese and English, but it really made me reflect, because it doesn't, not that it doesn't matter, but it's not a bulletproof, I'm a spiritist, or whatever religion. It's not a bulletproof. even this description of a medium, which for me, even kind of like that person was able to talk and receive through the mediumship Spiritist, was impacted and had to go through that, really touched me because it goes beyond knowing the doctrine. It's about our own stance. It's our own efforts and our own decision to live by those teachings. And just saying whatever religion that we have or the world has will not prevent, will not, because it depends on each one of us. And that reminds me when André Trigueiro, a famous lecturer from Brazil, he did an interview with a priest, a very popular priest in Brazil, Fábio de Mello, where he asked, Fábio de Mello was famous in Brazil because he went through depression, he went through a lot of mental health conditions, and André did an interview with them, and before he finished the interview, it was outside of the cameras, and said how, and he mentioned that he had suicidal thoughts, and he said, where, and André Trigueiro asked him, where was God when you were going through that? And his answer was, God was right next to me. I was not able to access it. So it can happen with every single one of us. Every single one of us. So that was a call for me, and I think it can be a call for the whole world, for the importance for us to be aware, look for help, and seek for help, and really live these teachings. And ask for help if we're not being able to live by it, and not give up. Because this life is a gift, and we are worth every single second of it. And a way for living it is we all have weaknesses. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here, right? We're here to be better. So there is this, when we did the some Cherishing Life lectures in the past, we need to be willing to recognize our weakness in order to transform them gradually, right? So that moment of self-reflection and understanding and identifying what are those are really important. And again, seeking for the spiritual and also material aspect of that help. But when we identify, we are willing, we identify, and we realize the impact of this weakness we are having in our feelings and behaviors, we need to initiate our efforts to change, but with a process of self and loving self-welcoming. É amar-se, se auto-acolher amando a nós mesmos. Because some of those weaknesses might pose a big challenge or a bigger impact. So what does that mean of loving self-welcoming? Is 5 essential virtues that we are invited to practice. First is self-love. We are immortal spirits, we are sons of God, we are apprentices of life. We are not just anyone, we are a special one. Every one of us has their own value. We're created for love and by love. Self-acceptance is the virtue that helps us accept ourselves, the essence, and who we're currently being, with imperfections, limitations, passions, what have you, that can be gradually changed. Self-confidence. God created us with all the power to make that change. So cultivate our will, nossa vontade, to realize this power. We are capable and we deserve to overcome all the pain and all the suffering. Self-valorization. We value the simple fact that our existence, because God created us. God offered us to the universe, and we have a role in this universe. And respect ourselves, respect our own limitations, respect how much we can do, and respect our neighbor as well, and all the limitations that we all have here in this world. So those 5 virtues play such a key important role for us to be gentle with ourselves, to go easy on ourselves, and be aware that we can do it, we can go through it, and we have all the resources again to go through it. And I couldn't end without one of the most consoling passages from the gospel, when Jesus in Matthew says, "Come to me, all of you who are exhausted and overloaded, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So I think this passage really represents the consoling aspect of Jesus and how we are invited to navigate this experience, being self-loving, self-welcoming, being gentle, and seek for help. And if we notice in our circle, if there are someone that it might be facing something, if there is an opportunity to offer help, to offer friend shoulder, to help navigate some of the challenges and situations of this life.
And also to add to that, just a reminder that we have the fraternal assistance here at FSS. So it's a confidential conversation with someone that needs help, that needs some information about what Spiritism says about suicide. It's something that can be scheduled with our team, and we can help in a certain way as well.
Thank you. Yeah.
May I just suggest, like, it's not based in Spiritism or suicidal, but it brings some self-reflection. Is that movie Soul? That it shows, it's like a cartoon. But
Yeah.
it shows like the transformation when you are in the soul world.
Yeah.
So it's and with all of these, I think it's nice to watch it again
Yeah.
and maybe reflect, like, related
Yeah.
to the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Good. All right. And I encourage you. I will send on our WhatsApp group the text that I mentioned. It's really touching. So I encourage all of you to read, because it really goes beyond the knowledge and touches the heart.
I just want to say something just because it popped in my mind, so maybe it's worth sharing. I think it was Mother Teresa when someone was interviewing her and asking about God, how she talks to God, and she said, "I talk in silence. I am just silent." And does God respond? Yeah. How does he respond? Just in silence.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that we do need to calm ourselves and like be very attentive. I'm not there yet, like in this intimacy that Mother Teresa has with God, but it's just every time that I feel my mind is too busy or my thoughts are racing, it's just like, how can I listen to God if I am not in silence?
Yeah.
So I think this is a good thing to remind us how important it is to be calm and to slow down, slow
Yeah.
the pace, or otherwise we are not able to listen.
And everyone will have their own methods or their own ways, and will know what works for each one of us.
I was just going to add, Jude, because if you think about it, even Jesus, who is a pure spirit, used to meditate, to talk to God. Imagine us, who are not there yet, have to do that so we can listen to our thoughts and really connect and stop our racing thoughts. to be able to listen to God. So it's you see, it's even with Him who's pure, right? What are we?
Just last week or so, I was listening to a lecture, and I didn't finish yet, but now I guess an invitation to finish. And the title is Silence to Listen to God, to hear God. So it's the need to silence. And it could be, you could be not talking and your thoughts are still racing, but how to really calm ourselves down and open up to listen. So I guess I'll finish the
Because there's no coincidence, right?
There's no coincidence. Yeah.
All right, let's go to our prayer. So connected as we are with God, with Jesus, our guardian angels, let's again express our gratitude for this moment again, where we had the opportunity to learn about this aspect of immortality, how the confidence that we, all of us, are reserved a future of happiness, and how that can give us perspective, serenity, confidence, and patience to overcome some of the challenges that we face currently, and how those challenges might look different if we think and if we understand us as an immortal spirit, and how this incarnation represents a very important day, but one day into our infinite existence. Let's pray and ask that we continue with perseverance, with hope, with confidence, with faith, enduring and going through our challenges and this experience while incarnated here on earth, putting the lens of education, putting the lens that we will overcome it and we will be able to rise better than when we first enter in all those challenges. God, Jesus, spiritual team, protect and guide Mary of Nazareth with all her team that can guide and help and support all those who have chosen this path of committing suicide, that they are blessed, that they are helped, and that they are guided to continue their efforts and their journey to become a more evolved spirit. That the spirits in this week of ours, we can have light, serenity, patience, and above all, love. Love to ourselves, love to our neighbors, and to the whole world that is going through so much change. That confidence, hope, be present in every single moment of our life. So be it.